On the planning commission too, coming from St. Thomas, isn't it just too bad?
The planning commission, who's that?
Yes. Bernie Gannon,
Oh,
but he's coming back. He will be back for June.
nice. Looks Daniel has an office there or something?
I think he is involved in restoration after the storms and stuff. I don't know quite what he's doing, but he's been there for months. He's been there a long, long time.
Not a bad place to be.
Well, they should have sent him to Puerto Rico, but he would have solved that one too.
Yes, maybe that next.
They need somebody down there, let me tell you.
Yep. Hi, Jennifer.
Who's got all the cars out there? It's
We're
scary.
meeting upstairs.
Oh, it's the one,
There's a
okay.
blank if you want to sit.
I get scared when I come and see a
But
full
you can sit
parking
where
lot.
you
Yeah,
usually do.
true.
Really,
It's okay.
we're gonna get screamed at. I mean, normally that means they're out there screaming. And
Yeah.
dog last week, council. Nothing
I
will
don't
get
think
people
John's gonna budge,
fired.
but you can slide his name down.
That's right. I hear them dogs.
Really? Notice that?
They cease to be human.
Yes.
I mean, the dogs are better behaved than that.
Oh, what's this new thing for?
That is our first applicant is going to be via phone.
Oh,
So that's a little speaker thing so that she can hear the board members.
fancy. Do you like my email?
As usual.
Oh, I didn't get it.
No, I haven't had my computer for a couple of days.
I said, I don't know if Marla forwarded it to you, but I said, I need to know if Matt's coming, because I don't know how I got the third seat, but I need to know if I need to figure out my excuse for tonight. I will definitely, if Matt's not coming, I will definitely be with Ebola.
2018. First item on the agenda, the directions of emergency evacuation procedures from the conference room. There are 2 exits in this building, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And if we are to have to exit the building, we'll be in the south parking lot, which is behind us here. Item number 2, any additions, deletions, or changes in the order of agenda items? Moving on to number 3, comments and questions from the public not related to the agenda. If you have anything outside of the agenda you'd like to talk about, now is your opportunity. I also encourage you to sign in on the sign-in form that should be in the back. Let us know who you are. Thank you very much. Now's the opportunity for any announcements. Is there any announcements from the board? Okay, moving on to item number 5, design review application DR 1806 of Mitchell Schwartz to revise a master signage permit to allow wall-mounted signs at 372 Dorset Street. And the applicant is, we're calling by phone.
Yes, just tell the number, I don't know what else I just need to.
Should we hear Dalton? We hit this one, right?
Yeah, hit that one, turn it on. Try it again. Oh, I guess you have to
Hit it harder. Hit it twice.
so it was
Who is it? Laura.
Laura Putnam.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, is this Laura Putnam?
Yes, this is.
Hi, Laura. This is Matt Coda with the Development Review Board.
Hey,
And,
how are you?
and we're in the open meeting right now. And so we'd like to start with your agenda item, if that's okay.
Yes.
This is a quasi-judicial panel, and I ask you to raise your right hand and swear to tell the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Tell us a little bit about your design review application and what you want to do.
So we already have 2 buildings on Dorset Street, and we're moving to 372 Dorset Street, so we're in 1 building. We just want to take the 2 signs we already have that are freestanding, and we want to mount them on 372 in place of the existing radio station signs they have.
Okay. Did you get a chance to read the findings of fact and the draft decision?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any questions about that?
Nope.
Does the board have any comments or questions about the? Is anyone from the public would like to comment on this agenda item? Then I would entertain a motion to close.
I move that we close Master Signage Plan in DR 1806 of Mitchell Schwartz.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Oh, thank you, Laura, very much.
Thank you.
You're all set.
The red button.
Red button. Great.
Okay.
Wow. Now everyone will be calling in.
Why bother to come here?
Moving on to item number 6, sketch plan application SD 1814 of Ernest and R. Claire Family Trust to subdivide an existing parcel developed with a single-family dwelling into 2 lots of 15 acres, lot number 1, and 117 acres, lot number 2, at 1731 Heinsberg Road. Who is here for the applicant?
I am Jennifer Desatel with Trudell Consulting Engineers.
Hi, Jennifer. If you could raise your right hand, swear to tell the whole truth under penalty of perjury. Thank you very much. Any disclosures on the board, Ms. Applicant? No? Okay.
We've done business together, but nothing related to this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you walk us through the sketch plan?
Yes, so Trudell Consulting Engineers was hired to subdivide a large parcel of land for the Eau Claire Family Trust, as shown on that attached map. Currently, the entire parcel is approximately 132 acres. In one 15-acre parcel from that large piece. So the remaining piece would be around 117 acres. So there's no new development proposed as part of this application, just only the creation of a lot. And on the lot would have an existing farmhouse and one of the barns on the property, as shown on that map. So that's what we're here for.
Jennifer, have you read the staff comments?
Yes, I have.
Want to go over that with us?
Yes.
Sure. On page 3, line number 1, talking about that the applicant has not performed a full boundary survey.
Yes. Typically we do provide a full boundary survey for most of our projects, but in the cases where the overall parcel is very, very large, sometimes we'll just survey the portion that's being subdivided off, knowing that the remaining parcel is large enough to meet all of the requirements, and nobody's really questioning, boundary lines. So we have surveyed the 15-acre parcel, and we would propose that is what we do for this piece. It seems like a lot of extra work to survey the remaining 170 acres that no one is proposing to do anything with.
The board, any comments about that?
Just a quick question. Could you give me just a rough ballpark of what it would cost to do the survey on the 117 acres?
I get in trouble with my surveyor for giving out this number without getting an estimate.
Number of zeros in the...
I would guess it would be roughly in the, $10,000 range. 100 acres is really a lot of land for the surveyors to traverse around, so.
I think we had your people do a $10,000 one for only about 7 acres, so.
I was low with my estimate.
Proportional to that.
Now I feel kind of chipped.
So the point of my question was to say that I don't think it's worth having them spend that money to do something that would have such a little impact. So I'm fine with waiving the requirement.
And staff's good with that too, so.
Yeah, as am I. Anyone, any other comments?
I don't.
Anyone here from the public that would like to comment on this project? Okay. Well, this is sketch, so thank you very much.
All right, we'll be back in soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Item number 7, preliminary and final plat application SD 1813 of Snyder Braverman Development Company LLC to subdivide 5.53 acre parcel into 5 lots ranging in size from 0.57 acres to 2.1 acres, and to adjust the boundary line between the previously conveyed 0.62 acre right-of-way easement to the city of South Burlington and a 6th 4.2 acre lot for the purpose of conformance with the official map 310 Market Street. Who is here for the applicant?
No one.
No one.
I would suggest you continue it till later in the meeting and go to the next one.
We'll continue this item until later in the meeting if the applicant does not arrive, and we'll move on to item number 8. Conditional use application CU 1807 and site plan application SP 1815 of Trono Fuels to amend a previously approved site plan for an auto repair facility. The amendment consists of constructing of a 1,600 square foot addition to the existing building, adding a paved parking lot, and changing the use to a contractor or building trade facility. A portion of the proposed road work is located within a stream buffer requiring a conditional use review in 10 Lime Rock Road. Who is here for the applicant?
I know that Abby Derry from our office was planning on being here tonight for that, but I don't think she just expected that it would be up at 5 after 7 or whatever time it is. So I can try to fill in until she comes if there's no other items on the agenda.
Well, we do have to approve the minutes, and that should take all of 2.5 minutes.
Well, I haven't reviewed the staff comments, but I can,
You want to give a shot?
sure.
You can do it, Tom.
All right.
Wing it, Jen.
Okay.
Can you please state your name for the record again?
Jen Desatel with Trudell Consulting Engineers.
Ed, could you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you very much.
No.
No?
Sorry.
We skipped you, Ken.
Oh, one idea is
Now.
to, if
Would you like to?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Might be
That would be
better.
great.
Sorry. Sorry,
Thank you.
folks watching at home.
schedule, I'm sorry.
We're going, yeah,
Yeah.
Vice Chair runs a tight ship here, so.
Great.
Right.
Jump right in.
So for those watching at home, we're skipping back to
Sorry about that.
That's okay, no, thank you.
agenda item number 7, preliminary and final plat application SD 1813 of Snyder Braverman Development Company LLC.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's okay. Who's here for the applicant?
Excuse
State
me.
your name.
Ken Braverman, Snyder Braverman.
Thank you, Ken. Ken, can you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you very much. I'll give you a few minutes to unpack.
Great, thank you. So quick overview on our presentation tonight. It's a 5.53 acre subdivision of a property in the form-based code district. And we're proposing to create 5 lots on this parcel that's just over 5 acres. And if you have it in front of you, lots C, D, and F, as outlined above, are planned for development. Lot E is planned for a gravel wetland for stormwater management. It includes a pre-existing city easement. And Lot G will be a future common lot, which is predominantly wetlands. And that's, Lot E is permitted under both a A&R stormwater permit and as part of our Army Corps wetland permit, along with Lot G. We currently have an application into the planning department under the form-based code for Lot C, which will be a 60-unit apartment project. As part of this final application, we've been working with city staff on, this will be the first section of Garden Street. And if you recall, the city recently approved a revised design for Garden Street, which will be a 64-foot right-of-way. And our most latest plans reflect the 64-foot right-of-way. And in terms of the form-based code review, a majority of this property falls within the T4, Transit 4 zoning designation, with a small portion of Lot G falling in T3. Phasing of Garden Street is something that we've spent quite a bit of time with Paul and Marla on. They proposed some language that we went back and forth on, and we're perfectly comfortable with the language that Marla drafted in her document. Our initial plans are to construct the full roadway from Market Street to the driveway where you see an easement coming through between Lot C and D, along with a 6-foot sidewalk and a 10-foot bike path. As we move forward with the development of Lot B and D, we have an agreement with the planning staff that there'll be language in each of our form-based code applications that'll essentially make the occupancy of those buildings or future projects subject to the completion of sidewalks and other improvements. We also have an agreement with the city that if the city were to move forward with the connection of Garden Street and Midas Drive, that we would complete the full road as well. So other than that, I think that's pretty much it on our side in terms of, we're thinking that this is pretty straightforward, and we're looking forward to getting moving on Lot C. And we're certainly happy to answer any questions.
Did you read the staff comments, Ken?
I have.
Any comments to the comments?
No, no, they all look, perfectly fine, and I've had lots of conversations with Marla, and she's doing a great job.
Well, I apologize, I've been out of town for 5 days and didn't get a chance to read this. Why is there a boundary adjustment happening between lots B and C for Garden Street? Is that just in order to line up Garden Street correctly?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. There was a previous road alignment. There was a previous easement that was granted many years ago for that.
It's just out of
This alignment, this modification is now accurately aligned with the current Market Street plans.
Okay.
Can the comment to reflect a 64-foot width for the proposed right-of-way? That's,
No problem.
okay.
Yep.
And it looks like it is 64 feet in here. And the shared easement access, is there a reason it goes all the way through to Lot E? Or does it matter? I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but nobody's going to be accessing onto E, right? This is the
Correct.
45-foot wide shared easement?
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not sure I fully understand the history of that.
I mean, frankly, it just makes it more flexible, so I don't have a
Right.
problem with it. I just wondered
Right.
whether there was a
Yeah,
reason why it went all the way
likewise.
to E.
I mean, I think in reality, the improvements that are going to be made on Lot E are going to be not your typical like stormwater pond.
Right.
So it's going to be a gravel wetland. So it'll be a little more user-friendly, should we say. It's not going to necessarily.
The city may need access to it, so
Yeah.
that's probably why it goes all the way.
Yep.
Yeah, got it. Of course, they'd have access off Market Street, but whatever, that's fine. Just curious. And Lot G is the only one that is in a separate zone, and it doesn't, that's again,
Yeah,
really
Lot G is
wetlands.
predominantly wetland, exactly.
Any other board comments? Any comments from the public regarding this application? Entertain a motion to close.
if I can get back to the beginning, I move that we close SD 1813 preliminary and final plat of 310 Market Street.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on back to agenda item 8, conditional use application CU 1807 and site plan application SP 1815 of Trono Fuels. Who's here for the applicant?
Hi there, I'm Abby Derry. I'm here from Trudell Consulting Engineers. And Peter Trono may roll in 10 minutes, but I hope he comes. In any
Abby-
case.
Abby, could you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes,
Disclosures, I would like to disclose that in my professional life, I am familiar with Trono Fuels and Peter and Corey and Luke, as they are members of the nonprofit trade association that I run, but I don't view that as although if the applicant or any of the board members view that as a conflict, I would step aside, but if that happened, we would not have a quorum.
Or any of the public.
So the public has a problem. Just wanted to disclose that, so thank you very much. Abby, tell us a little about the project.
okay. Excuse me. So Peter Trono is looking to expand his existing building that he has at 10 Lime Rock Road by 1,600 square feet for storage of a couple of his fuel trucks. There's going to be 3 overhead doors on the west side of the building, and again, it's really just to house the trucks. He's going to be adding a couple of paved parking. He's going to pave the parking lot, add a couple of more spaces to accommodate his. This is where he's going to have the offices for his Trono Fuels business. He wants to move here from where he's located right now in Burlington. So he's proposing to pave the parking lot, add a couple of spaces for employees, landscaping, fenced dumpster pad, stormwater treatment, and a couple of wall packs on the expansion part of the building. The building is going to be, the expansion portion is going to be stepped down about 3 feet from existing finished floor elevation to accommodate to work better with the site grade. It slopes from east to west down toward the floodplain and stream that's on the west side of the building. So that is a brief description, and we provided a landscaping plan, plant list, lighting plan, specifications that are all in the package that you've received.
Abby, have you read the staff comments?
I have.
Just go over those for,
Should we go through the
Yeah.
points in red?
yeah.
Okay.
Number 1, talk about naturalized mix of grasses.
Yep, and
Strawberries.
the applicant is fine with that. We can update our plans to have a seed mix for any disturbed areas within the buffer. And there can be a no-mow condition within the stream buffer too. The applicant doesn't have need to use that area for anything.
Number 2, we talk about snow storage.
Yep, if you pull up a plan, we have one snow storage area on the east side of the building in front, but we wanted to provide a space on the west side of the building as well. And I'm sorry I don't have a laser pointer, but in the southwest corner of the parking lot right now, there's a little snow storage bubble kind of by the curve on the southwest side where the hand is. And half of that falls within the 50-foot top of bank buffer. So I guess I would just probably move that closer to the east between the existing tree. There's kind of a triangle formed between the property, the southern property line, the edge of the parking lot, and that tree right where the hand is. So I think that is area sufficient for snow storage. And then the other place they can do is the parking lot is so big because he needs room for trucks to circulate and get in and out of the building in the back. But there's going to be areas on the site that will be evident in the winter where trucks don't go. So he can pile snow in the parking lot where those areas are, those vacant areas. So those are my suggestions to address number 2.
Item number 3.
We've corresponded with Dave, and we will increase the forebay depth to 2 feet. We removed one of the plant species from the acceptable gravel wetland planting list because it is not suitable for continuous inundation of water. But all the rest of the species that we have on our list on our detail are fine, so that will satisfy that requirement. And then you can put a condition in requiring the applicant to maintain the stormwater facilities.
Item number 4, we talk about the value of the trees that are being
Yes.
removed.
And so I have a handout here that the landscape architect just prepared today, if you want to take a look right
Great,
now.
thank you.
So one of the trees, one of the trees that's being removed in the front yard is now a dead tree. And it wouldn't be removed if it wasn't dying. So we're just replacing it in kind with whatever tree it is now, which is a maple. The other tree that's being removed is a lilac, and the value placed on that was $375. And then the other tree slated for removal is actually a big clump of trees that just never got mowed. I mean, it's not really anything valuable, and the landscape architect has indicated that if those continue to grow, given their cluster and their proximity, they'll probably break off and be more of a hazard anyway. So he assigned no value to that. Subtracting the trees that he assigned value to from the landscaping total. We still have a number higher than the landscape budget required by the LDRs. And he achieved that by adding 3 more lilacs to the landscaping plan that we have already submitted. So you don't have that landscaping plan, but we'll add those in when we submit the final plans.
What are the calipers of the current trees that are going to be removed?
The current trees, well, the dead maple is a 16 inch.
What are the calipers of all the trees that are being removed?
The maple is 16 inch. I don't have a caliper on the clump of trees. It's a big cluster of many saplings that have grown together. So and I don't have a photograph with me, but it's hard to say what the caliper is. There's probably, 10 or 12 2-inch caliper, 2 to 4 inch caliper shoots coming out of that cluster. And then the lilac, again, I don't have a caliper, but the landscape architect thought it was about $375 for the value.
Well, I don't like the way that the South Burlington does this, but you have to replace trees caliper for caliper. I don't care what he says, because I've been through this enough times and paid the money to do it.
Sure.
You can't just say it's worth $300 and get away with that. If you have a 16-inch tree and you need 16 inches of caliper to replace it, unless Ray disagrees with me on this, maybe if it's dead, you get away with it?
No.
No. So a 16-inch tree that's dead has to be replaced with 16 inches of tree. And that is either, you pick 8 2-inch trees, it can be 4 4-inch trees, but you have a lot of trees to be replacing.
Right, and I guess I understand that requirement if the tree is living and we were removing it for the purpose of this development, but because it's a tree that is dying and they may have replaced it anyway, not as part of the project, they wouldn't have replaced it with 8 2-inch caliper trees. It would have been a 1-for-1 swap replacing a dead tree.
No, it wouldn't. I've been through this a bunch. I totally disagree with how South Burlington does this, but this is the way South Burlington does it. So I'm telling you.
I know, and I just want to be clear
here.
that if a tree dies on somebody's property, like a tree has been growing for 25 years and it's, a 16-inch tree and it dies, you then need to
If it's in the backyard of your house and you're not part of a development.
Regulations require that
Right.
landscaping on the property be maintained. So if a 25-year-old tree dies, gets hit by lightning, whatever, you need to replace it on a caliper by caliper basis. It's under our landscaping section. The idea is to not diminish the amount of landscaping on the property. That's the way it's been done for the last number of years. And John is correct, he's had to go through it himself on other properties and other properties. So without that information available, we may need to have this continue to a future meeting, have the information about the caliper of the trees that are being removed so that we know what the basis is, and then a plan showing the replacement of that number of caliper elsewhere on the property. It doesn't have to be in that particular location. It could be someplace else on the property.
Right, the applicant's not trying to get away with anything here. They would
Understand.
fully comply with the requirements as they are. And is it something that the board could condition that we, measure the caliper, and if the administrative officer can agree that we've met the zoning regulations, that the board would be okay with that? Is that something you need to
It
see?
typically goes
back in front
has
of
to
you?
be in the plan.
Right, it has to be we lost a court case on this very issue with landscaping, where the board required the landscaping plan to be approved by the planner. The court says the planner has no authority to do that, only the board can approve the plan. So ever since then, we've been requiring that the plans that the board approves, that the board actually sees the plan. Plus, we also need to have our city arborist review any changes to a landscaping plan.
Of course, and we're happy to have the arborist review that. I just was trying to
Sure, I
not
understand.
come back in front of the board for this
Understand.
issue.
totally get it, and if you want to come with me to argue with this somewhere else, I'll be with you, but this is the way the rule is.
Yeah, all right.
Number 5, Abby?
Staff recommends that, yes, we will update our pavement detail for the trench repaving to match the amount identified as the recommendation.
Great. And number 6?
And then the applicant will also update the construction details on our erosion control measures to specify the 4 inches of topsoil required in disturbed areas and update the sequencing on the erosion control notes.
Great. Any other comments from the board about this project? Any comments?
I think it looks good.
Yeah. Any other comments from the public? Is there a motion to continue this for,
June 5th, maybe?
is that the next date?
June 5th, yeah.
June 5th. Motion to continue to June 5th?
How soon would Abby have to have her information in for a June 5th?
I think there are 3 Tuesdays,
There are 3 Tuesdays in May.
so we're looking
So you've got an
at-
extra week, yeah. So it's like a week from
25th by
Friday?
At the end of the day on the 25th of May.
We have a week off.
And that way, the plans will be available on the 28th, which is the week that we prepare the staff comments for the June 5th meeting.
That is plenty of time. You'll have them.
Great.
I move that we continue site plan application SP 1816 and conditional use application CU 1807 to June 5th.
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? See you in June.
Yep.
Last item on the agenda is, or the second to last item on the agenda is minutes. We have the minutes from May 1st. Did the board get a chance to review those minutes? And are there any?
I didn't have any changes.
They look fine to me.
Fine to me. Yeah. I move we,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? And item number 10, any other business? And the Development Review Board meeting is adjourned.
7:32?
Go Celtics.
Ray, for the Trono one,